Imagine if your whole team was a part of the process of recruiting folks for your organization. And when I say the whole team, I'm not talking about the sales team. I'm talking about the whole company. Everyone and their mom are designated as influencers on social media to help you land your new hire. That would be absolutely amazing, right? They have the platform. Now, why are we not taking advantage of that? Well, on this episode, we're going to talk to you about the idea. When you're unseen, you're unsold. And as we're discussing and deciphering ways that we can get more people to come to our companies and to hire the right sellers for our organization, this episode is going to help you tremendously as a leader. I promise you. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast here on Tacie TV on YouTube. I'm your host, Mr. Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, we have the one and only Tacie coming on the show. Tacie, she works with an amazing organization in the marketing space, and particularly around the idea of giving you this social influence. Now, when we had this discussion about how can we give a topic that's going to help our folks who are hiring managers or sales leaders learn how to be able to bring the right people on their team, it makes sense as we're talking to Tacie about this idea. How can we become these social influencers, help our organization, so to speak? There are tons of team members we have. Are they maximizing their LinkedIn, that platform? She's going to give you some amazing insights today. I mean, mine was blown. You're going to hear how I said this in the episode and how I spoke about it, because it's something that I think it's fascinating and amazing. We're going to change the way we do things internally. Listen to it, and I hope it'll help you as well. Tacie, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today. Welcome.
Thanks so much. I'm excited to be here.
Of course. Now, I was bragging about you at the beginning there of the introduction and doing the teaser, and I don't know if I did enough justice to be able to describe what you do and your amazingness. So would you be willing to tell us a little bit more about you and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I work with, for Little Bird Marketing, and we help clients and companies all over the world, really globally, to ensure that they understand how to create a digital culture through social selling and creating social influence so that they can be seen.
I love the fact that you shared the idea of social influence. Let's talk about that for a second, because I think it ties very closely to our topic when we get into that for a second. But what do you mean by social influence? It could be very broad, or it could, people can take it in different directions.
Yeah, I think especially, it's a great question, because the word influencer has become a very common word these days. And I think that its, original meaning has shifted a bit in terms of how people are using different social media platforms. So being able to leverage the type of influencers that are coming out of maybe an Instagram or a Facebook and transferring those things into a B2B world, so more on a LinkedIn or a Twitter, to create your professional influence. I think, that is what we mean when we say creating a social influencer.
Love it. So there's some power in that, and I think there's a lot, especially if someone is looking for their first job. They should definitely come with that idea. And I know today we're going to be focusing on a little bit on the other side, but from the company components, like as a sales leader, this series has been going on, we've been focusing on ways as they're hiring people, different topics that can help them. The one that we're going to focus on today is unseen is unsold. And I cannot tell you, many of us who have fallen in that category as a sales leader, where we have a position, or anyone, a business owner, where you have a position and you felt that it was amazing job description, but still yet nobody is finding you. So we want to talk about that. How can we make sure we're not unseen when it comes to, or what does it mean? Let's go back even more basic. What are some of the challenges you see when folks are trying to hire new sellers or just hire new team members, that they get lost in the shuffle with when it comes towards those descriptions and not being seen? I don't know if that makes sense there.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. And I think I have an idea of, what your thinking, so we're on the same page there. And hiring new sellers, hiring in general for companies has definitely changed, especially, with everything that's going on. Being seen is literally the most important way to ensure you're actually bringing in those candidates, those good candidates. And I think that, the hardest part is if you don't know how to build your network and how to get yourself in front of that network, then how are you going to ensure that you're exposed to the best candidates and the best candidates are exposed to you?
So it's you as, if I'm a hiring manager, a VP of sales, or a sales director, sales manager listening to this episode, how do I make sure that I don't fall into that category, fall into that gap where people are not seeing our company?
Yeah, I think because of how digital the world is now, it's absolutely important for there to be that social influence company-wide. A lot of times, people are on LinkedIn because they think they're in sales, so they should have a LinkedIn. But you don't see as often like a chief research officer or chief revenue officer, or someone from HR on LinkedIn actively promoting and being an advocate for their company. So when people, look for a company, what is one thing that you do right now when you want to work for somebody or, even want to buy something? The first thing the majority of us do is go look online, read reviews, try to understand, what that company brings value-wise. So we need to, as a company and as a hiring person in that, within that team, they need to ensure that their company and themselves are seen.
Mine is blowing right now, absolutely. And I think you're probably saying, well, Donald, it's such a basic topic, a basic point there. It's not that huge. But no, when you really think about it, because I am looking at it from not only internally in our organization, but organizations I work with. The two groups of people that are on LinkedIn were the sales and marketing team. This executive team, they're there, CEOs there. The two that are active, sales and marketing. And you just gave me that. I'm just like thinking, if we have a message as an organization, if we believe our company is the best place in the world, that we have a great mission, that we're on track to change the way the world do whatever, fill in the blank. If that's the case, then everyone should be that evangelist, so to speak, on LinkedIn. And that one message should permeate, whether it's with HR or client success. How is that message tying back to an HR person, or how's that message tying back to a client success individual or a research person, like research, whoever does research analyst? Because now the mission or the message, and when it comes towards bringing the people, the right recruits to the table, that's, if I see everyone on the company everyone in the company talking about this amazing thing or their role relative to the mission, I'm game. I'm intrigued. Is that where you're getting at? If not,
yeah.
You just gave me a big aha.
No, and absolutely, and it's important because you could maybe have had hiring events before. You could do in-person interviews. You could walk them around the office and give them a visual of things that were happening in there. You could physically give them, ideas or kind of show them what life would be like working for your company. But now that's not necessarily an option for so many people, especially with the option, going remote, being a remote employee. A lot of people, even where we live, I have a lot of people moving to my small town, but still working out of San Francisco or Los Angeles. And that's because, they're finding companies that are allowing them to work from distances. So how is it that you can transfer your hiring process to stand out digitally? And a lot of that comes from LinkedIn and from Twitter and from, sharing valuable content, sharing, your employees being an actual advocate for the business, sharing about the culture. But exactly what you said. I think that, they have to figure out how to stand out digitally.
My goodness. And it's free. It is free. It's like, and everyone in the company, no matter who they are, whether they're going to post on social, well, for the most part, I'm not going to say everyone, but even with the, let's say as the young folks will call anyone that's not in their generation, the boomers, even the boomers are going to be on Facebook. So the same principles that you apply on Facebook when you post those wonderful pictures of grandkids, you could post a wonderful picture of the office and say, I love working here because of this, and this. like that's huge, because that footprint now, it just goes so much. Oh shoot, you got me going. I'm about to go yell at my team. Guys, we have some ideas. So Tacie, so what are some things, how do we go about doing this though? Like, let's say we're going to execute this. We want to be seen. Let's break down. You kind of give us some ideas already, but what's the very first thing if we want to do an action plan, and who should lead this to ensure that it's happened? Because you're kind of trying to get different people who are camping out in different silos to do this, because we want our company to be seen so we can get these jobs out there. I mean, I guess maybe we start with HR if that's the case.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the most important part, I think, is ensuring that it's not just one area of the company that is out there pushing. It needs to be people across the entire company. And I like to look at it as all companies are really ensuring that they're providing a culture for their employees, that everyone feels like they have a voice. So we need to carry that over to create a digital culture. So, starting with each head of the department, whether it be HR, marketing, and working within teams to train them up on, and you might laugh because I feel like this has become such a buzzword, but how to be authentic when it comes to, sharing about the company and about themselves. And, being authentic doesn't mean you have to, try hard and be buttoned up and share the perfect post and exactly why you love the company every day, or have everybody from the company sharing the same thing every day. It's exactly what you said. It's about, being yourself. So getting them to create the digital platform that they want to be on, which for me, I recommend, LinkedIn, especially in a B2B setting. And then being themselves, because that's how relationships are created. And when you create a relationship with someone and they see that you're enjoying the company you work for, or your HR person is, consistently posting, valuable information or amazing projects that they've worked on, or sharing about clients that they've, join forces with, then people start to get engaged and they want to know more. And it's easier, who knows, maybe they'll start reaching out to you and say, do you guys have any open positions, instead of you feeling like you're in, a hole of, we have to hire so quickly, but there's no one coming our way. So I think really just letting your team be themselves and creating that digital culture, and not, like I said, my biggest pet peeve is forcing them to post the same thing across the whole company on a regular basis. It happens, I know it does, but allowing them to have a voice, it's like reaching out to their network and bringing it back to the company.
So, and I see that, when we have our LinkedIn page, and one of the things our sales team will do is that they'll just gravitate to a post that we post there and, reshare it. And I get that's good, get a little bit more extra oomph. That's fine. But how do I, let's just use me, because I hate sometimes we speak in general terms, and, we want to get some specifics. In a case like mine, how can I help my team to be creative and post authentic things when sometimes I feel individuals have a hard, not everyone have a as easy of a time to be authentic and creative? I don't know if I'm making sense with that question.
Yeah, and I think it does make sense. So again, thankfully, we're on the same page here. Yes. But, it kind of comes back to, if your team isn't able to build a network on their own, then how they definitely aren't going to be able to build it digitally. So not saying, are you hiring the right people, because you might be hiring great people, but giving them the avenue of, some sort of training and understanding of what successfully, going digital, creating the online culture, being authentic, what that looks like. A lot of times people automatically assume, being authentic means that they have to also be very buttoned up, because it's the business and personal and professional should be completely separate. But we're seeing now with how many people are at home and working with their kids right next to them, people want to be able to relate, and empathy is created, and then connection. And so I think just, an initial kind of training or, sharing of an expectation to your team of what that looks like, of what taking your company culture online looks like, would definitely be, the perfect avenue to take.
How often should those trainings be delivered to help build the proper efficacy amongst the team? Because, like in my view, I think a lot of times they'll do a training once, and then like I taught them, but yeah, that was like 3 years ago. Like,
right.
What do you recommend?
And I mean, the world is always changing, as we are seeing. For me, when I work with my clients and companies, we go through 12 weeks together. And then after those 12 weeks, they have each other, their cohort, to rely on. But we do recommend that companies continue to, touch base with their team on the type of digital culture that they are creating, on a regular basis, whether it be through a Slack channel or a Teams chat or something like that. You can create those windows for people to constantly engage, and that also creates communication within the company. What is it that you're sharing, or what is it that was successful for you, or does someone know someone who is looking for a position? It keeps the communication flowing. As far as trainings on new platforms and things about platforms that have changed, I think that a quarterly or even twice a year is significant. But having that open communication for those people who do want to be able to, share ideas and bounce things off one another, we love having, an actual channel built to that for every day.
Love it. Do you have any stories of clients that have, they were been able to adopt these policies and became seen, or a seen organization?
Yeah, I have, several. I literally just got an email last week about a company who created their LinkedIn page, and they were struggling. They had, I think, 1,000 followers, if that, but they never got any engagement. And just from a small shift in bringing their team on board, from sales to their project managers and their marketing side, getting them online onto LinkedIn and sharing about the company, they grew, I think it was 2,000 followers in 6 days.
Wow, that is amazing. And it's just from them sharing stuff.
Right, because people don't understand the reach that online has. If you're at a company with 10 employees and each employee has, a network of 500 people, and only 200 people are following your company page, think of all those people within your team that are just sitting there waiting to be brought into the conversation and to learn more about what they're doing and what opportunities there are at the company.
Yeah, that's a lot. I think even just those eyeballs can, in this case, relate to more people checking out your job descriptions or your job post. And then even from that standpoint, leading to potential opportunities. Because I'm a believer in that. Like, from one of our things that our marketing team has done, they just help us to create buzz on social. Like, we'll have our posts going out on the different platforms at appropriate times, and what we've seen is that those lead to impressions, and those impressions that lead to conversation, because our customers follow us and they connect with us. And that leads to them saying, I need to re-up with this. And I cannot tell you, there's several experiences I can point out right now that more than likely came from that specific activity of just being out there and being social.
Yeah, completely.
Any other advice as we come down to the tail end of our interview today that you would give to a hiring manager or a sales leader, that when it comes towards making sure that they're seen to get those jobs?
Yeah, I think that it's important to consider that things are not going to go back to the way they were. There may be aspects of it that come back, but a digitally transformed culture is going to completely change the influence of your audience, that you have on your audience, and who is able to see you. And that's why I feel like I'm so big on unseen is unsold. Those that are just, sitting there waiting for things to go back to normal, or still trying to operate as they used to hire, they're not going to be successful because they're not adapting. And, in order to adapt, you have to shift to that digital culture. So creating that is what's going to allow you to ensure that you are seeing and finding the perfect candidates for what you're filling.
Come on. Love it. This is great. As we are wrapping up, if there's one major piece of advice you would like folks listening to this episode to walk away with, what's that one major piece of advice?
I feel like we have said it over and over, but unseen is unsold. I had to say it again, just one more time.
One more time for the people in the back.
Unseen is unsold.
That is so powerful. Guys, you've heard it today. Now, speaking about being seen, if folks want to connect with you so that they can see you and to learn about you and some of the great things that you're doing with your organization to potentially help them, what's the best way for them to go about connecting with you?
Well, of course, they can find me on LinkedIn, Tacie Avedikian. They're also welcome to email, just tacie@littlebirdmarketing.com.
Well, Tacie, we are very appreciative of your wisdom, of the things that you shared today, your insights. We'll go ahead and link back to your LinkedIn and to all the information that you shared in our show notes. So we want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show. Appreciate you.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
That was the one and only Tacie. If you have not connected with her as of yet, please go and connect with her on LinkedIn. I shared those links down below in the show notes. And listen, I'm telling you, she knows her stuff. And as I've been bragging about this idea from the intro to the teaser, this is something you could take advantage of today and to start see improvements, to get the right people. I mean, everyone in your company should be those brand ambassadors, right? Let's change that and make that happen. So I'm super excited for what Tacie has to share. I'm super excited to help you understand it, and I hope that you can continue to find success. As always, take advantage of our sponsors. They're giving away great deals, and I want you to find more of those ideal customers. I want you to know what to say when you reach out to them. I want you to be able to close more deals, but most importantly, I want you to go out each and every single day and do big things. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you enjoyed the content, I ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, that thumbs up at the bottom right-hand corner. Also, to make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. This way, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest sales strategies, latest tools, and things that are going to help you to not only find more prospects, but to close more deals. Thanks so much.